Well, if you don't win, you got to go to work. And recruiters give you a big boost when it comes to landing a job. First, though, you got to make a good impression on them. Here to tell us more about that, Randy Wooden with the Goodwill Professional Center. Good morning.
Good morning. By the way, I've got the inside track on that.
Really? On the lottery thing?
I'll split it with you, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Hey, let's talk about recruiters. I think a lot of people don't understand the role that they play in maybe helping somebody find a job.
They do, you know, and actually recruiting has changed over the years. When I got started many years ago, it was either typically executive level IT folks, that kind of thing, management, or it was hey, my receptionist is out for 2 weeks on vacation, we need a quick sub. But now recruiters run the gamut, and it's accountants, it's analysts, it's operations folks, it's across the board. And so there's a very good chance that most anybody could potentially be recruitable. So today we'll talk a little bit about how to become more marketable as a job seeker. And to break it down real simply, I mean, it's simple, but two categories. One is, how do you find the right recruiter? And secondly, how can they find you? So
yeah, that connection's tough. And I think a lot of people say, you know, how do I find a recruiter? I don't know who they are. Where would I look? What do you get?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time. And so what I do is I say networking's important. Talk to your friends. Did they have a good experience with a recruiter? What about somebody you used to work with who's gone somewhere else? Was a recruiter able to help them make that transition? I'd also get on LinkedIn, I'd get on the internet and conduct searches for recruiter and, let's say, healthcare, and find recruiters who specialize in your area. Then go to their website, make sure they work on appropriate positions for you, and then contact them.
How do you get that relationship started? How do you come across well to them and you know, make that good impression?
Yeah, and that's a more complex one here, but let's take the other side of that. And how do they find you? Well, certainly you need to be visible, so you need to be on LinkedIn.
You mentioned LinkedIn as being a great resource.
And you need to be on the job boards, whether it's Indeed, Monster, and other ones. So good recruiters can find you. But also, check out your resume and application to make sure that the keywords that are in the job descriptions are incorporated on your resume, and also just to make sure that the words that other people who do what you do, look at their resumes, look at their online applications or profiles, and incorporate those words. But the big thing overall, you touched on it earlier, is this networking piece.
Right.
And there could be 100 or 200 people who've applied or that are sitting in that recruiter's inbox, and they don't have the time to get to know the story behind each one so that they can more effectively market you. That's where if somebody can call and say, hey, Brad, listen, I know Randy Wooden has applied. Could you take a second look, see what you think? Well, guess what? That recruiter pulls you out of the stack, or in this case me, and looks closer and gets to know the story so they can do a better job of marketing me to their clients.
So that's where that networking component comes in. Personal contact can really make that difference.
They're not robots, and it's not all keywords and accomplishments. There's a person and a personality behind those accomplishments. And the better job you can do of getting that recruiter to become familiar with your story and to be able to sell you, in effect, to an employer, that's the big challenge, and that's what it takes.
I think a lot of people limit themselves when they think about networking. They think all the people I used to work with. What about people you go to church with? What about neighbors? What about... There could be a lot of contacts out there that you're not mining.
There are, and also don't be afraid to get out and meet new people. Get out to events and let people know what your story is.
Okay, Randy, thanks very much. Great advice as always. If you want to get in touch with Randy, you can do that by contacting the Goodwill Professional Center. They've got a website there with a lot of information, goodwillprofessionalcenter.org. You can also email Randy at procenter@goodwillnwnc.org. That's for Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina. Or just give them a call, 336-464-0516.